I think the last time those books were bought were in the year 2002. They are in very poor conditions.
If there are books, they should be given books. Why should we buy? Why should we pay again?
Lakini hii free education ilipokuja ilisaidia angalau ikusaidia 100%, ilisaidia kama 50.
Each county in this country should have enough number of universities, enough number of high schools that will eventually absorb that huge number of primary school leavers.
According to the United Nations, over 46 million African children, nearly half the school-age population, have never set their foot in a classroom. Some African countries have eliminated primary school tuition fees to enable basic education for all, but burdens ranging from extreme poverty to the cost of uniforms, food, and disease are keeping these children out of class. Kenya is no exception. Despite free primary education, education in Kenya is fairly expensive, though it is a desire of the Kenyan government in Vision 2030 to create a globally and competitive education, training and research for sustainable development. However, education still remains a big strain on most families in the rural areas of Kenya. The majority of these families live below the universal poverty line of $1 a day. The situation is the same in the rural areas of Kericho, a Kenyan county located to the southwest of the country and lying within the highlands west of the Great Rift Valley. The county is home to the best of Kenyan tea, which is known worldwide for its brightness, attractive color, brisk flavor, and textures of fragrant leaves. The county has an urban population of 150,000 and a total population of over 500,000. Kericho is one of the places that was greatly affected by the 2007 post-election violence.
At this place we can see like these houses down there, even up there. These are the area that was affected by this election of 2007.
The situation of the people here is quite pathetic. Most of them live by the help of NGOs, while some carry out part-time jobs with tea companies in the area. The reintroduction of free primary education in January 2003 by President Mwai Kibaki was received with mixed reactions across the country. Tuition fees and other levies were abolished. The government and other development partners were to meet the cost of basic education, learning materials, and wages for non-teaching staff. The impact of the program was great, since this resulted to increase in the intake of children in the primary schools. On the other hand, this was the beginning of many challenges.
It was a good idea from its inception, but the problem comes in the implementation phase, when the idea itself is now not reflecting what really it was meant to be.
It was a noble thing that the government came up with, and it's very helpful because many children have been accessible to education. The children who are not able in any way
to attend primary school. So it has helped many children to be accessible to primary education, and it has also been helpful to the parents because children have been able to gain value and to gain knowledge on different things that they need to have at their particular age groups.
Most parents thought that the free primary education would be of help and provide for their children, only to realize that they still had to buy school uniforms, books, food, as well as pay the PTA levy.
We liked it, and we have been liking it. But then, I wonder, with this free education, why do I buy books for my grandchildren? And I am asked to buy it because the children want the books. Is it true that we are having free education? Is it true that we are having something to do with this free education, or it is only a lie? What we need is there books? They should be given books. Why should we buy? Why should we buy books? Why should we pay again? If people saying, oh, there is something needed, toilet fees, what are building allowances, or building fees, activity fees. Is that really true education? Or free education?
Mimi kwa ile upande yenye watu wanasema free education iko free, sio free kwetu. Sababu challenges yenye tunapitia za zingine ni free kweli, mtoto anaenda kukaa kwa shule. Lakini ikifika month end unapata mtoto amefukuzwa, lete pesa mtiana, labda parent kama mimi siwezi nika afford nitoe hata hiyo 20 bob. Mtoto unapata anakaa first term afanye mtihani. So hii mambo ya kudanganywa ati iko free education, hakuna kitu ya free. Hatupei bure masomo venye watu wana.
The seriousness of the teachers is another major problem children are facing. Some of these teachers send their children to private schools and tend to overlook the future and importance of children in public schools.
Some of the problems that I was facing in school, one was the teachers were not serious on our side, on their side. Pupils were trying their best, but the teachers were a little bit lazy. You know, some of the time they are just sitting in the office making stories, while us in the class were struggling reading. The second problem first is condition of book. I think the last time those books were bought were in the year 2002. They are in very poor conditions. Some of them you cannot see some letters. They are only men with sellotape. We can't see some of the words. We are only struggling to look at them so that we can pass in our examination. If not so, we will stay that way.
The increased intake of children in primary schools, where one teacher is teaching a class of 50 to 70 pupils, makes it impossible for a teacher to control that number of pupils and effectively handle the education problems.
Unaweza pata kwa darasa watoto wamejaa karibu 100. Watoto kama 100. Mwalimu mmoja aweze kufundisha watoto hata 100 hata kwa nini? Tuseme kwa hiyo 30 minutes yenye wanapewa ya period.
This, in fact, runs down the quality of primary education.
Find out that these children are huddled up, so many of them in one classroom, to an extent that learning becomes a problem. You have over 40 children in one class. Again, you have over 40 children being taught by one teacher. And kind of these teachers are not able to function properly because of the huge number of pupils that went back to school.
whereas rich parents cite quality of school as their main reason for transferring their children from public schools to private schools, but the poor ones have no choice. Another major problem primary schools in this county are facing is the fact that the government was not prepared for this kind of increase in the number of intake, and structures were not put in place to accommodate these increased school populations. Many schools had an overwhelming increase in enrollment, while others witnessed mass exodus. Average class sizes rose from 40 to 70, while the facilities remained the same.
My opinion is that it was a good idea, but then the infrastructure would have come before the decision to make primary school free.
Nevertheless, the intake of children into secondary school still remains a big issue for both government and parents. This is because the secondary schools have not been prepared for the increased number of primary school leavers and so have found it challenging.
If you can facilitate so many people to go through primary education without adequate preparation for secondary and post-secondary education, then we are anticipating a problem. After having a lot of children qualifying after primary, then you are going to have another big number that cannot be absorbed in secondary, and then another big number that cannot go to university because of lack of resources, lack of infrastructure. Then we are going to have a lot of wastage along the way. You are beginning with a large number but ending up with a very small one. So at least each county in this country should have enough number of universities, enough number of high schools that will eventually absorb that huge number of primary school leavers.
Also, the parents have to take over the sponsorship, which is a challenge for them. These people from this area face many other challenges besides that of providing for their children with the needed school materials such as books and uniforms. The problem of health and provision of food is another challenge. Many families witness high rate of infestation of jiggers. Living in such families for most children is hard since their parents cannot provide for them. Some parents, especially the men, spend their time drinking while the family responsibilities are left to the women. These women cannot provide some of the basic needs for their children, as some are at home all of the time taking care of the animals. If one of the strategies of the Kenyan government in Vision 2030 is to create a globally and competitive education, training and research for sustainable development, to integrate all special needs education into learning and training institutions. However, this has not easily been realized effectively in that the free education program has a lot of issues to be rectified. The people of Kericho County are hoping that the implementation of a new constitution and the formation of a new government will help to improve the standard of education in the area.
Government coming into place, we hope that things will change, because now everything will be centralized, so everything will be done within the county. So we believe all our issues will be handled well. Since even right now what we have the county directors of education within the counties. So we believe by the government bringing such offices near to the community, we believe that our schools will improve.
Those who are going to be elected, they better think and say a word concerning this education, free education. They must alert the people or give a good example. Not that they send their children to private schools and then we poor people, we send our children to public school, of which again they are going to get the money from us.
What really is free education to Kenyans? Does it mean children attending school without paying tuition fees only? Or does it also mean children getting all the educational materials, such as books, pencils, pens, to enable them to learn without disruptions?